It is absolutely insane the seller's market that the trade deadline was. GM Lou Lamoriello and Chris MacFarland finally came to a deal on center Brock Nelson, but it cost the Avs quite the load to get it done. Now, Lou Lamoriello, love him or hate him, is a stubborn man. I fully believe that if he didn't see the correct offer, he wouldn't have moved Brock Nelson at all and would have let him walk in free agency, seeing that he's on an expiring deal this season. However, not only did the Avalanche acquire the necessary second line center that they needed to complete their cup run, they also stole him away from all the other competition that needed him as well and hurt the rest of the teams in the West by doing so as well, which is a masterful move by GM Chris MacFarland. What is up, guys? It is Avalanche Digest here, your number one source for all your Avs news. Don't forget to comment down below what you think, because it can't just be me yapping the whole time. And don't forget to subscribe. We're going to get right into it. Now, Elliot Friedman is a very plugged-in insider in the NHL, and he had this to say about other teams interested in Brock Nelson. He said that there was a lot of interest in Nelson. Winnipeg, Toronto, the Devils, Washington, just to name a few. He also said that there was a possibility, high possibility, that there were other teams interested in him as well. Now, when you ask me, what exactly would be the team that needed Brock Nelson the most out of all of the Avs' direct rivals, I would quite easily state that that team is the Winnipeg Jets. Now, the Winnipeg Jets have been probably one of the best, without a doubt, regular season team in the West this season. They boast an insane record. They've been absolutely flying, but it's also pretty unsustainable with the rate that they've been shooting, with the rate that they've been scoring, and the rate that they've been winning games. Now, Connor Hellebuyck is a star goalie. He's been the best goalie in the NHL for the last probably 3 seasons. I would say before that would be Andrei Vasilevsky, but honestly, it's been Connor Hellebuyck since then, and no one really wants to talk about that just yet. But they have a lot of great players. It's just unsustainable, the amount of success they've had, and it's going to come crashing down in the playoffs. Now, if you ask me what the Jets' biggest hole is, it's absolutely their second-line center. Right now, they have Nemestikov filling in as their second-line center, and anyone that knows the player knows that he's good. He's a good guy. He actually played for a little while on the Avs. He was acquired at a trade deadline to help the Avs try and push for a cup way back in the day. Unfortunately, it didn't work out there, but he's a good player. He is not a second-line center in any stretch of the imagination. That is why Brock Nelson was so necessary for the Jets to get at the deadline, and yet they didn't acquire him. The Avalanche did. Now, many other teams were also interested in Brock Nelson's services, as I listed prior. Toronto could have used an extra center. Dallas would have loved to supercharge that already insane top 9, and yet it's the Avs that got them. Now, why was this made possible? And that's quite easy to explain. The Avalanche were willing to pay a premium for it. Lou Lamoriello absolutely would have been willing to sell it to anyone who gave him the best price. He knew it was a seller's market this trade deadline, as we saw many other insane trades happen. And he knew that he could get either a good price on Brock Nelson or let him walk away in free agency. That's just how stubborn he is. The Avalanche ended up paying their best offensive prospect in Callum Ritchie and a first-round pick in order to secure Brock Nelson. Brock Nelson is a certified, bona fide, amazing second-line center. He's good defensively. He plays on the penalty kill, at least he did on the Islanders. He has an amazing shot that absolutely makes teams pay when they make mistakes, and he turns around. He absolutely rips it past the goalie and just leaves you wondering just what in the heck happened. He just got lucky, and no, he didn't. He is just an amazing player. Now, Who is Callum Ritchie, you might want to ask? Well, Callum Ritchie is actually a very interesting prospect. He was drafted 27th overall in the 2023 draft and was actually injured at the time of the draft. He was a point per game in his draft season. In just 59 games, he had 59 points. As a player that going into that draft year was predicted to possibly be a 10th overall pick or in that range, it was kind of interesting to see him being drafted at 27. It was definitely a huge fall off from what was expected. The Avalanche saw that and said, we're going to take a shot at drafting this kid. And he had an insane +1 draft year. In just 50 games, because remember, he had to come back from injury that season, he had 80 points. 28 goals and 52 assists. He is such an insane setup man, but also has some pretty good scoring touch as well. Now, the Colorado Avalanche did call him up to play NHL games when they were very injured, and he only managed to score 1 goal. He was just not NHL ready. He didn't look like he knew the pace of the game. It was pretty rough out there, to be honest. Now, that's okay because it's perfectly fine to take time to develop, but the Avalanche just don't have that time to wait for him. So they decided, let's get a good veteran 2C who is already proven in the playoffs, and let's see what it can do. And let's see that right now. What you are looking at right now are Brock Nelson's playoff numbers. As you can see, in that 2019-2020 season, in 22 games, that deep run for the Islanders, he had 18 points, 9 goals, 9 assists, just an insane numbers to help complement a roster. And keep in mind, that's on an Islanders team that prioritizes defense. So it's not like he was getting the most offensive chances. The year after that, 7 goals, 12 points. And then look at the next time they were in the playoffs after that. Every single season, 6 games he has 5, in 5 games he has 4. He is just putting up good numbers. Now, they're not quite Cale Makar numbers, and they're not quite Nathan McKinnon numbers, but honestly, I think Avs fans have been a bit spoiled with those insane over a point per game numbers that those players have put up, but he is still such a great complementary piece and an absolute dog at scoring goals in the playoffs, especially on a team that is very defensive-minded, like the New York Islanders, like they were. Now, this allows the Avalanche to put Brock Nelson next to another dog in the playoffs in Valeri Nichushkin. In only a few games, Valeri Nichushkin of last season, before he went into the player assistance program, put up 9 goals against Winnipeg and Dallas in the first 2 rounds. He was an absolutely insane scorer. Pair that with a good player like Brock Nelson, and they are going to be insane. If both of them get 9 goals, that's a guaranteed Stanley Cup for the Avalanche. Just go home. Don't even bother playing the games, but do, because it's going to be so much fun to see. And I guarantee you, you don't want to miss a second of this insane series that's going to happen. The Avalanche are absolutely primed for a cup run, and they actively hurt their competition by stealing Brock Nelson away from their competition. It is going to be absolutely insane, and maybe later in the next few videos, we'll get into looking at their other competition other than Winnipeg. But thank you so much for watching in this video. Don't forget to comment down below what you think and subscribe.